Do we have free will? Interesting question, right? So the question that I would offer in return is, who are the we, who is the I that we're asking on behalf of? Is it a separate entity? Do we believe that we are a separate entity and are asking on behalf of this body, personality, system? Does this have free will? Well, there is no separate entity anywhere in the cosmos. There is only one seamless continuum of substance that reality is. And if that's not immediately recognized, a way we can establish this experience is to notice the connectivity of everything that appears in existence. There are interactions taking place on the biological level, the chemical level, the atomic level, all the way down to the quantum field. And at some stage in our probing, all of the measurements that we can make on phenomena with objective qualities vanish into, dissolve into the vacuum or the void, in which scientists suggest that there is no time, there is no space. There is only the potential for an expression or manifestation of energy. So this is a perfect description of non-duality, that there is only one fundamental substance to the cosmos, and everything that appears is derived from that, arises from that. The mistake that the scientists make who believe in materialism is that consciousness is one such emergent phenomenon from this vacuum, and that consciousness is not fundamental to the vacuum, to the ground substance. Whereas the contrary is actually verified by our experience, that consciousness is the ground of our being and is the only substance we actually ever experience and can verify. Whatever instrument we use to probe what we think of as matter, the objects and the phenomena, all we ever find is the consciousness of that experience. And we never find the form independent of consciousness. We only find consciousness. So consciousness being the substance of all that exists. Or even if we don't want to use the word consciousness, we can say awareness, I, God, divinity, reality. There's only one presence here. and this here being this one presence. So being that there's only one presence, there is no separate entity that exists fundamentally. There may be the appearance of a separate entity, separate objects that are distinct from one another, but that is merely a temporary appearance, just as the characters in the movie, the objects within the movie, are appearances of the one screen. Those characters and objects are not intrinsic to the essential substance of the screen. Likewise, all the objects and apparently separate entities are made of the one screen of reality. So being that there is only one reality, can this reality control itself? Well, to control itself, reality would need to split itself into two separate entities. One to act as the controlling force, and the other to act as the controlled. One doing the controlling, one being controlled. But reality is one and indivisible. It cannot separate itself into two essential parts. And likewise, it cannot step outside of itself to take a position away from itself in order to exert a force on itself and thereby control itself. It is one presence. So, being indivisible, it cannot control itself. And being that our presence is the presence of reality, we cannot control ourself. And that self that we cannot control is the totality of reality. Everything that appears to exist, the movement of the body, the movement of the mind, the movement of emotion, the movement of the landscape, none of these can be controlled by the only one that is reality. And there is no separate entity to exert a controlling force. There is only reality. So no one is in control. That statement implies that there are separate people that could have control or not have control. But when I say no one, I mean the only one that is doesn't have any control. Yet there is the experience of freedom. Evidently, when these arms raise, this voice appears, there is movement taking place. There is this deep sense that we have of freedom. When we say, I have free will, however we identify the I, we are accessing the intrinsic freedom of reality itself to create. At every moment, reality, its essence, is spontaneously and uncontrollably manifesting the totality of existence. And by existence in this context, I'm referring to the emergence. Existere is the root of the word existence, which means to stand out from. So in this context, I'm using existere to mean the emergence. So reality is creating spontaneously and uncontrollably all existence, all of the emergence of phenomena. So that is the freedom that we feel. The freedom to speak, to move the arm, for the thoughts to flow, is the freedom of reality to create. So in that sense, reality does have free will. It is the only one with the freedom to create. So when through each unit of expression that a person is, we feel, I have free will. We are referring to reality and its intrinsic freedom to manifest everything. That freedom is unlimited. So to summarize, we have absolutely no control over what's going to happen next. And yet we have the unlimited freedom to create what is going to happen next. I cannot predict the next moment in all its fine nuances and even its gross nuances. I cannot predict any event taking place. And yet the source of every event that appears is myself, reality. So the best of both. A complete surprise from moment to moment. And the peace of knowing everything comes from myself.